Hey guys, Dave here again. Next story I'd like to talk about, I was reading it was quite interesting. I heard it years ago, a story similar, but this one's just quite interesting too. And as you can see in the picture, yeah, well, just have a look at the picture. Anyway, the story goes Edward Mordick died aged 23 of suicide. Not because he was a normal case for suicide. It was a real strange one. You look at it, it was the man with two faces. Yeah, on one side, Edward had a full working brain, everything normal. He could control all his movements, everything. Just like a normal guy. But on the other side of the back of his head, he had a face. You look at the face was a bit deformed, but it had everything in a face would have: mouth, nose, ears, eyes. Now, this is the real. I mean, not that that's not creepy enough as it is, but the creepiest bit is that they shared some sort of brain, or they had two brains, or the other guy had some sort of thought patterns going through him or something. And the story goes, in the middle of the night, this other face would somehow telepathically, like, the thought in your brain, talk to him, speak to him, say things. It would never happen through the day or anything like that. He'd just be getting on with his own life. Well, I mean, we're not really sure, to be honest, but he did have the story of this, which seems that the other face at night would torment him. It wouldn't be like any sort of thing, oh, help me do this, do that, oh, yeah, I love you, or which you'd think somehow there'd be some sort of connection, like positive connection, if there could be. But there wasn't. It was like this thing was just harassing him every night. He couldn't sleep. He'd be awake or whatever and wake him up and start saying you're worthless, this and that. And well, we don't really know exactly what he said again, but you can just imagine. Oh my goodness. Every night. Till he was 23. He just couldn't handle it anymore, so he, did himself. So, oh, it was horrible. Anyway, you just often wonder, like, what sort of things would have been going through the other thing's head. Doctors wouldn't take it off. He went for years trying to see doctor after doctor if they could rip the face off. But no, obviously it was such a bizarre, and it's part like it was to his brain. When you can see on the picture again the skeleton, and you can see it's actually somehow it looks like he would have had part of its own brain, but it was connected to this guy though. Another story I once heard of, very similar to this, but actually it's even more grotesque in a weird way, but no one knew nothing about it until years later. But this other guy had a similar thing, but instead of his face being on the back of his head, this was like a zygote, or I think they call it a zygote twin or whatever, within the zygote part of of growing. Like there's when a baby's first formed in the cells, it's somehow twisted back in on itself, and the two, which would have usually separated the two twins, they didn't separate. One of them twisted back into the other cell, and when the child was born, what they didn't go like, when a child's born, they don't go and give x-rays and do all that sort of stuff. The child was born and had this lump there in its stomach. It would just seem like a lump or whatever. I'm sure straight away the doctors would say, oh, some sort of bizarre growth tumour, but benign because, whatever. So the kid grows and gets older and older, and then eventually he can start talking and understanding things, and he goes to an adult or a teenager or whatever, where he becomes aware. Well, anyway, he starts telling the doctors and his family that it feels like there's something, like, he thinks it's normal because he's no other thing, but there's some where we have our own brain telling us, the person that talks in the back of your head, your your id or ego or whatever it is, that thing that talks to us in the back of the head. This guy had that, but he had another one as well, but he probably thought it was a mix between the two, I'm not sure, but he was always arguing within himself, and that in itself made the poor bugger go insane as well. And he wasn't really sure what was going on, but it was like weird. The other thing was this stomach tumour thing. It had grown and grown. It looked like he was pregnant, like by the time he was an adult, and they just kept on saying it's a tumour, it's all right, because he was from a poor country, so it wasn't like medical stuff was easily available, so he just sort of just lived with it, I suppose. Anyway, I'm not sure how it ended up happening, but they somehow did, some Americans or Western countries saw it and said, hey, we'll come and help you. So they went and had a look, they did the x-rays, proper scans, probably did a CT scan, and whammo, what did they see? What looked like? Some sort of fetusy head person, baby, inside, or what was his guy's stomach. It was literally, and it didn't take him too long to realise that it was literally this twin, which had literally gone back to the cell, and when it had gone back into the other guy, literally the twin started growing within this guy's stomach. So as he was going through the years, from baby to adult, there was this living thing in his stomach. Yeah, like living and obviously communicating. As he said, he was having these weird dreams and nightmares, or something speaking to him or communicating to him, and then basically this thing, if you saw the picture of it, I've got to get the picture. It makes the other one I'm showing now with the face, look no nothing. This one it was like a fully type grown human inside this guy's stomach. Well, it wasn't an exact human. Well, the head was basically the size of a normal head. But then somehow their body had turned into this weird, like, those cartoons where they put the big head and this little body on it, like, it was like that, literally, like the little arms and feet and everything, like torso, the whole thing. It was like a little fetus, but it was like a head and then a fetus it was all crawled up and all matted, and like he was in some sort of fetal position, because obviously he didn't have, or it didn't have, well, it was actually a he, they worked out it was a he. He didn't have, like, much room to move, obviously, so it was just for 20-something years. And then they just, oh, shit. But at the time, they I think, I'm not sure exactly, I think actually that before or whatever after or something, anyway, they took the thing out and it died. And, when they took it out, it wasn't just like the fetus part. This is the other strange thing, because people would think about, if you think about it later, it was like had a head, as I said, a normal head, so it even had hair. So, and the hair had grown for like 20-something years in this guy's guts, and you know how long the hair grows over 20-something years. And when they pulled it out, it was just this hair, big, massive, knotted, round hair. It was everywhere, hair. He had a whole fit of hair and went right down all, ugh. Made him look even more creature-like. But not just that part of the creature-like with the hair, he also had what other things grow. Yeah, your fingernails. And he had nails that was like these bitty little micro hands, but with nails that had like grown for 20-something years and never been cut, so they were like fucking 2-3 inches long. Or whatever. Oh, you couldn't really tell with the proportions, but shit. Mate. We often think, shit, oh man, doing it hard, it's not fair, this and that and the other. And this guy said he was psychologically fucked up somehow too, like he just couldn't, yeah, it just obviously meant, I couldn't even fathom how scary that would be. But anyway, yeah, we should, you know, all the sayings, I could say a few, but I don't think we need to say any. But anyway, cheer up and thumbs up with a couple of likes and subscribe. Thank you. See you guys.